the winner of these two matches will go on to the final, and the winner of the final hoists the trophy and all of the glories there. Let's have a look at the deck lists that these players have brought to bear, starting off with Michael Bonda and his blue-black mid-range deck. Raf, this, for you at least, has been the standard deck of the tournament.
To me, this is the story of the standard portion of this tournament. Blue-black has been dominating the standard side of the teams, either with the mid-range version or the control version. Mid-range has been winning a little more, I think, and that's what Michael Bonda chose to play, and it's been going very well for him.
The Scarab God really is just the absolute be-all and end-all threat in this standard format at the moment. And Vraska's Contempt is another card that just really does a lot of work in standard right now. But it's the flexibility of this deck and its ability to switch postures between being a more aggressive creature-based deck and then a slower, more controlling list, especially after board, that really puts it above the top, Raf.
So the story behind this deck is that it's probably the best shell to play the best card in the format. The Scarab God in the control deck is obviously very good, but sometimes you just lack creatures to reanimate. In this shell, you have Walking Ballista, for example. If you don't have anything to reanimate, you have 4 mana. You can just dump it and bring it back.
Yep, we got a 4 mana creature there with that 4 mana 4/4. In addition to that, I mean, Champion of Wits is a fantastic card to bring back, but I mean, it really doesn't get too much better than Gonti, Lord of Luxury.
And the other card that's, to me, the other story of the tournament, Glint Sleeve Siphoner, is probably the second. It just does so much, maybe against other control decks. If they don't have an answer to it, it's a free card, a free 2/1. And then if you don't kill it right away, then just snowballs.
Number of interactive options, including, of course, Vraska's Contempt, Fatal Push, Supreme Will, Essence Scatter, another fantastic card, and Torrential Gearhulk to, have that removal or those counterspells work a double shift here. Now, Michael Bonda is, of course, up against his opponent, Adriano Moscato, who's playing mono red. This is the spiritual successor to Ramunap Red, of course, and not a whole lot has changed with the way that this deck wins games of Magic.
Well, it changed in the way that they don't rely on the lands to win. They have less ways to deal damage directly to the player, which makes the deck a little worse. And it ended up in the top 4, so...
Still got the goods, as we see Hazoret no slouch at all. There's no reason to believe that this god is going anywhere just yet in terms of her dominance over this format. But the curve stops at 5 now. It goes all the way up to Glorybringer, and we tend to see some more beef at the top end, extra copies of Chandra, Torch of Defiance, and maybe a couple of extra lands here or there. But it's still that classic Bomat Courier into Earthshaker Kenra, into Arncrop Crasher. These hasters are, they hit hard, they hit early, and they can still get it done, Raf.
Yeah, very straightforward lists. They have, sorry, I'm correcting a little thing. They have the Sun-Scorched Desert. They just don't have the Ramunap Ruins.
Yeah, for sure.
So they have just less reach than they used to have.
So two of the big decks in standard going out at hammer and tongs before much longer. But let's move across now to Modern and have a look at what's going on with Andreas Peterson here. He's playing Scape Shift, Titan Shift, whatever you want to call it. And look at this up in the top right-hand corner, the latest piece of technology in Scape Shift.
So Blood-Red Elf is the big story of the last couple of weeks since it got back into Modern. So you can see Jund has made a comeback because it was the obvious shell for Blood-Red Elf. It has so many different ways to gain card advantage and to optimize its cascade ability. But we haven't seen too much of the Blood-Red Elf in Scape Shift. And it does a lot of stuff.
It really does. I mean, if you look at all the cards that it can hit here, a lot of them doing the same thing. Secure Tribe, Elder Farseek, Search for Tomorrow, all doing more or less exactly the same thing. But even hitting something like a Sweltering Suns, especially against these go-wide aggro decks, is fantastic. The Sweltering Suns resolves before the Blood-Red Elf, meaning the 3/2 will stick around to seal the deal afterwards. But what really is a draw to this deck is the fact that in the late game, once that Valakut combo has been assembled along with 5 or 6 other mountains, it's very hard. The top decks are just terrific for Scape Shift, especially when you can stand to draw things like Primeval Titan, start double, triple bolting them all over the place. This deck, when given enough time to set up, is unbeatable.
It's also very hard to disrupt because it mostly relies on lands, and there are not a lot of land destruction. So it's also, I believe it's a fine choice to beat the very popular Jun in this setup. A lot of teams decided to go for Jun, and this deck might just be the answer to Jun that usually don't have, the Jun players don't have that many ways to disrupt this.
We've seen big mana decks do very well against Jun lists, like the one that Daniello has brought to bear at this tournament, and a couple of interesting innovations in this list as well. Not only are we looking, of course, at the industry standard by now, 4 copies of Bloodbraid Elf. That isn't where the top end finishes. Also Huntmaster of the Fells, and on top of that, if you'll believe it, 2 copies of Glorybringer. Yeah,
that's a heavier version of Jun.
Yeah. I tell you what, it really the top end of this deck is quite astonishing. We've been talking about a format pre-unbanning where 3 mana was essentially the hard top end of any mid-range deck, something like Lingering Souls, Tireless Tracker, what have you, and Abzan. Now we're looking at Jun decks that are pushing all the way up to 5. Given that a stated objective of R&D in making the unbans that they did was to slow down the format, to push people up the curve, based on the information we have this weekend, it seems to be a very, very effective move.
Another point about this list is, in this matchup especially, is the 4 Fulminator mages in the sideboard. So that's what could make the difference in this matchup, because while Jun has a hard time against Scapeship, because you may disrupt the hand, but sometimes the Primeval Titan is just too much. But if you manage to keep them off the 6 mana, of the 7 mana, it might just be the right way to do it.
Yeah, and bringing in 4 Stone Rains, and of course the Stone Rains that can be brought back with Kolaghan's Command is no joke. And often, I mean, one of the prices that this deck pays for going a bit higher at the top end, we see in the board things like Obstinate Bailiff, Thrun the Last Troll, what have you. So, there are expensive threats on both sides of the board here. Is the removal of Dark Confidant. It's just too much of a liability to be flipping 5 drops to that guy.
Yeah, this is the actual surprising thing about this deck. The card advantage engine does not come from Dark Confidant, which is the go-to card in Jun.
Instead, we're looking at cards like Tireless Tracker to pull ahead, or even the 2-for-1s offered by things like Kolaghan's Command. But a lot of one-offs here: Abrupt Decay, Fatal Push, Collective Brutality, Dreadbore, Terminate, Maelstrom Pulse. All as one-offs. This is often some stuff we see in blue decks that can really churn through their decks nice and quickly. But here, I mean, I guess Daniello just has to hope that he has the right answers to the right threats at the right time, and certainly this tournament has treated him well.
Yeah, this is a version I'm actually curious to see in action against Titan Shift.
Well, we'll see how Jun, the fortunes of Jun continue to go throughout the following weeks. But let's move on now and have a look at the Legacy decks. Thomas Enevoldsen's 4-color control. It seems like no one can make up their mind as to what this is called, whether it's 4-color control, 4-color mid-range, check pile, what have you, Leovold, the Leovold special. In any case, this deck plays a core sort of collection of blue cards, of course. Brainstorm, Force of Will, looks like he's gone for Preordain instead of Ponder. But and also Deathrite Shaman as a card that is just seen play everywhere in Legacy. But apart from that, it's just some of the best cards across these 3 colors. And Leovold is kind of the across all 4 colors here. Leovold is the marquee card for that purpose.
So yeah, in Legacy, probably the most dominant deck is a deck that uses Delvers, Delver of Secrets, and Desert Shaman. This one does not have Delver of Secrets. It relies more on card advantage, may I say. Baleful Strix is a good way to deal with Delver of Secrets. It draws a card, it blocks, and has Death Touch, so they have to kill it with a Bolt, for example, and you net a card. And as we mentioned throughout the tournament, there's not a lot of card advantage in Legacy. This is very different from the other formats. You tend to play cards that only cost 1 because 2, 3, 4 mana is too much. And cards that cost 1, they help you find the right cards, but they don't provide card advantage. So with Baleful Strix, a 2-mana card 1/1 that trades for an opposing creature and draws you a card, that's a huge advantage to beat the decks that only do 1-for-1
all the time. And one of the other cards that is almost always going to snag you a 2-for-1 here, Raph, you talked about
Turak.
The fact that, Hymn to Turak is even another one on the top of the one that I was going to mention here, but Kolaghan's Command, costing 3 mana, which is a huge amount of mana in Legacy. as a 4 of in this list means that the deck obviously prioritizes effects like the flexible ones offered by Kolaghan's Command. But yes, drawing ahead with just straight up 2-for-1s, him to Turak, Kolaghan's Command, Baleful Strix, and with the top end, of course, of Jace the Mind Sculptor. Even Leovold is almost always going to get you your card back for investing in him. And as a result, this 4-color list really looks to break the card parity that we so often see in Legacy.
It feels to me that if this deck is successful, it's because it breaks the 2-for-1, the 1-for-1.
Because that's all that we see Delver decks trying to do.
Yeah.
They 1-for-1 with cards like Daze, and all the cantrips they play again don't get them ahead on cards, but it's that pseudo card advantage of Brainstorm plus Fetch. But on to an entirely different list here. This is not playing any Delvers. It's no Brainstorms or anything like that in this list, because we've got a straight-up Prison deck here. Mono-red Prison. And this deck has a pretty single-minded objective, playing something like a Blood Moon on turn 1.
So he wants to keep you away from your lands, pretty much. So unlike many decks in Modern that will pack basic lands to kind of counter a Pass to Exile, Legacy does not really care about Pass to Exile. There's no Pass to Exile. There's Swords to Plowshares, even though it's not really played these days. But people don't play basic lands, or very, very few basic lands. And Blood Moon just takes advantage of that. Not a lot of players have basic lands. So if you manage to play a Blood Moon on turn 1, thanks to Simian Spirit Guide or Chrome Mox, you're in pretty good shape. You have a chance that your opponent is not going to play a single spell the whole game.
And you can actually see a huge number of very impactful 3-drops that can come down as early as turn 1, thanks to City of Traders, thanks to Ancient Tomb, Simian Spirit Guide, Chrome Mox, and what have you.
Trinisphere.
A Trinisphere on turn 1 is just enormous, because again, we're looking at a format overrun with Delver decks that cost almost exclusively 1 mana. All of the cards in them cost 1 or 0 mana, and if you've got a Trinisphere on the battlefield, that's going to slow your opponents down hugely.
And the card that keeps the removal for the deck, not the removal exactly, but the way to deal with creatures is Ensnaring Bridge. So not a lot of decks are packing artifact removal in the main deck.
No, I mean an important exception to that is, of course, Thomas Enevoldson's Czech Pile, which is playing.
I would say it's very bad news for the Italians, because
it's super bad.
That's probably the worst matchup they can face.
Yeah, absolutely. Enevold's playing mana for his spells anyways, so it would be another situation. Nor is it ancient. So the has actually quite a poor matchup.
Also, basic island and basic swamp, which are very good against this deck, and triple Kolaghan's Command.
No, quadruple even. Four copies of Kolaghan's Command in his list there. So as we bring it back to the booth now, ladies and gentlemen, of course, Riley Knight and Ralph Levy here to guide you through our semi-final. The players are getting seated, and everything is just about in readiness now. But let's have a look at the bracket of the players that we're going to be looking at throughout this semi-final here. You can see Bonda, Peterson, and Enevoldson against Moscato Daniello and Lippi. Those are the decks that we just saw on the screen. And on our back table, Watsfeld, Larson, and Nystrom facing off against Green, Jones, and Elliot Tamby. So we've got the Brits right down the bottom of the bracket. We've got the Swedes just above them, and then on our first table, the Italians versus the Danes. So it is very much the very best of European Magic, and as a result, it won't be too much longer before we are down to the feature match area to see exactly how things go there. Let's talk about these matchups already. Let's talk about these matchups that we're about to see here. We've already discussed the fact that we think that perhaps Enevoldson has a leg up on Lippi there, given that Leovold has, probably an edge over this red prison deck. What about Jund versus Scapeshift? We've seen that this bigger Jund list with 4 and 5 drops, is a slightly new take on it. How's that going to shape up against Scapeshift?
So in a regular match, I would say that Scapeshift has a slight advantage. However, since the Danes ended up undefeated in the Swiss, they are playing every single match first. Yeah, all of the players are going to play their first game on the play.
So there's no die roll in this situation. There's no coin flip. The Danes they're on the play every time if they choose to be. Yeah.
So I would say Scapeshift is ahead. However, Jund is going to play first in game 1. So that's...
it does change things.
Oh, no, it doesn't. No, actually, no. Sorry. The Danes are playing Scapeshift.
The Danes are playing Scapeshift.
So I would say Scapeshift is ahead.
Even, post-board, we do have things like Fulminator Mage, but...
Since Scapeshift, I would say they're ahead in game 1. And even though John is gonna play the Fulminator Mage. They're gonna be on the draw if they win game 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say Scapeshift ahead. And as for the last match, the last match is
blue-black mid-range facing off against mono-red aggro.
I think these teams play during the Swiss, and we've seen Michael Bonda destroy mono red thanks to Harvester.
Yep.
What's the first name of it?
Ethersphere Harvester.
Ethersphere Harvester. To gain life, and Walking Ballista to block and to kill the Earthshaker Kaineras. So I would say all 3 matchup are
Looking pretty good for the Danes.
In Danes' favor, and they're playing first. So it's gonna take a lot for the Italians to win.
Well, of course, anything can happen down in the feature match area, and we're going to see how things go between these two players, but it looks like the Danes may just have their snoot out in front a little bit here, especially given the fact that they are on the play. They had a terrific run, didn't they? Geez, this weekend.
I haven't seen them lose. Every time they were on camera, there was
they picked up an early,
easy.
They picked up an early draw, and then after that, they were just undefeated for the longest amount of time. And as you say, it looked. They never looked to be in too much trouble.
Looked easy for them.
Yep. Undefeated at the end of day 1, and of course continuing that undefeated run deep into day 2. And as a result, they are our top-seeded group of players here for the semi-finals. And we're going to head down there again very soon. As soon as players are ready there, we will see exactly how things pan out between these two there. It has been fantastic to explore Standard, Legacy, and Modern this weekend. It's not the first of many team trios that we're going to see, or team events more broadly speaking, that we're going to see this year in the lead up to the Team Pro Tour. Amsterdam is on the agenda very soon. We've got
Bologna as well.
Bologna as well as another team event, and these are team limited, however. I mean, this is going to be a big part of the competitive scene moving forward.
I have to say, I've been enjoying this this weekend so far.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah. It's time for us to bring it all to an end, however, or start it to at least. It's time to head down to the feature match area right here and right now for the semi-finals of GP Madrid. Hello, my friends, and welcome to coverage of GP Madrid. You are live in the booth with me, Riley Knight, and with him, Raphael Levy, the French Hall of Famer, and it is time to get underway with the semi-finals of this Team Trios tournament. Michael Bonda and Adriano Moscato are kicking things off here in Standard. We have Michael Bonda on the left-hand side of your screen, and he is playing blue-black mid-range. Adriano Moscato is playing red aggro, and well, Raphael Levy, based on your assessment, the blue-black mid-range player is slightly favoured here.
I would say he is, yes. Unlike the blue-black control, he has blockers to full plan and just match up. So a lot of cards that are going to be very hard for the mono red to overcome.
Champion of Wits following up this early fatal push to take care of the Soul Scar Mage. Moscato does have a nice aggressive option in Kari Zev. Resilient beater here. That's difficult to block, of course. But Bonda is going to be able to shape a hand that's going to be good in this situation. And he knows exactly what this deck is about. He would have played this matchup countless times. And a comment you made, Raph, which I think we need to come back to, he's never seemed to be in all that much trouble throughout this weekend.
It's a very good draw from Adriano here. It's just missing a Bomad Courier, but still a good offensive draw from the mono red player.
Nice
6 damage on turn 3.
Yes, indeed. That Arncrop Crash is going to have to stick around for a little bit, however, after having exerted himself in this turn 3 attack. And now it's back to Bonda to see what he can find. Vraska's Contempt in hand is a nice one to buffer up that life total. I can't believe we're living in a world where a 4-mana removal spell is really an industry standard, and also a very attractive option.
Gaining life off a removal spell is very important. It's instant as well. So all this package in an instant is great. This is probably the best removal we've seen in a very long time, and it deals with everything. It's not like it says exile target non-black. It's every creature
and planeswalkers.
So we will have a hard time finding a card that replaces that once it rotates out in a long time.
Yeah, it's quite a while. I mean, Vraska's Contempt is going to be around for quite a while, but it takes you back to the days of Hero's Downfall.
That's going to be hard to replace.
So Bonda does not deploy a Scarab God after having played his 5th land here, but a Glory Bringer from Moscato. No, but Bonda says, no, my friend. No. Scatter is dealing with the Glory Bringer. Just the one of in the main deck here for Bonda.
And the good thing is now, even if Michael draws too many lands, he still has Champion of Wits in the graveyard. If he draws two more lands, he can eternalize one of his Champion of Wits and have a 4/4.
So a few more options for both of these players here as we see Bonda, 6 land.
Drawing a lot of lands.
Says go. Not so many cards in hand for him. Moscato continues to find action. I think he just drew a Kari Zev. Pianala the play now. And again, a little Thopter. And then the follow-up play is the Kari Zev freshly drawn.
That's a lot. That's still a lot of...
Now, there's no mass removal. This would be a curious thing against most control decks to overextend like this, but Bonda doesn't have any kind of Wrath effect here. There's no damnation in the format.
he's falling a little bit behind here.
Mm.
Maybe because he drew too many lands.
So he needs to find a way to tangle with this board state.
Yeah, I don't think he plays. He's not playing Golden Demise.
No, it's played in the board here, but there aren't too many ways for him to really leverage the card in game number 1. Moscato. Pretty classic list from him. That Pianala is just a one-off. 3 Kari Zevs there. And the Glory Bringer also a singleton.
So he's going to have to survive this attack. And with whatever he drew, he needs to stabilize.
So another Champion of Wits now. Drawing 4 cards, discarding 2. So hopefully Bonda can find the tools he needs to move forward here. Discards a Scarab God.
So the black Champion of Wits on the board, which is not represented by a token here, but that would probably be replaced soon, will most likely not block this turn.
Because of the Ahn-Crop Crusher there?
Yeah. The exalted ability of the Crusher.
Well, instead it's actually going to be the falter effect from Pianala here. Sacrifice an artifact is going to falter the big champion.
Nothing's blocking here.
And then the Ahn-Crop Crusher is going to falter the second one. And now a lightning strike upstairs just like this. Triggering prowess. And is this enough for Bonda to pack up his cards? It is a hugely aggressive start from Adriano Moscato, who just went from strength to strength. Michael Bonda was sort of, fiddly-farting around with the cards on top of his library, but just couldn't come up trumps with what he needed there, Raf.
Yeah, he drew a lot of lands.
Yeah,
he had 7 lands on turn 7, which is not exactly where you want to be, especially some mono ways to have draws that punish that.
Yeah, hugely punishing draw there for Adriano Moscato. But look, we've got some lightning-fast results in our others. Sandro Lippi with a surprise victory against Thomas Enevoldsen there. Enevoldsen, of course, playing a 4-color check pile there, a 4-color mid-range deck. But it looks like Lippi may have come up with the goods. Maybe an early ensnaring bridge on turn number 1 or something like that was how he got there.
I don't think ensnaring bridge is the card that wins. I think Blood Moon is the card that wins.
Could have been a Blood Moon on
Blood Moon turn 1 is probably winning the game.
Before they get a chance to fetch up that swamp, that island there.
Or just play Desert Shaman.
Anyway you slice it, Lippi has got come up with the goods here. So the Italians with an early lead in the semi-finals here. And all of the players, of course, shuffling and mulliganing. We are on mono shuffle cam. I do apologise for the brief and intermittent delay in here. And you'll notice, Raf, that both players are looking at their opponent's deck lists.
Yeah, I think they had access to it before the game.
Yes, they would have.
But they want to make sure that maybe they didn't have enough time to be sideboard again.
Well,
the
reason for it, I suppose, for those who may be wondering as to why this happens, is because, of course, we've had a full weekend of coverage. We've had both of these, all of these teams featured pretty heavily throughout the weekend, and so for any of their friends or family who have been at home watching, of course, we want to make sure it's an even playing field and that both teams have access to an equal amount of information. And so for that reason, to make sure that there isn't any uneven, playing fields for either of these players, we do give the deck lists out to both teams so they can they know exactly what's up. All the sideboard tech and everything is completely transparent, and that's just the way forward to keep things as fair as possible.
So yeah, after 5 minutes, only 5 minutes, all game ones.
All game ones have resolved themselves here. So
that hasn't happened much this weekend.
No, we've had a lot of slower games here, a lot of unintentional draws across the entire tournament. But let's have a chat about what's going on with the sideboarding here, especially when it comes to Modern. Looks like we're going to stick around here for quite a while. Jund was not able to win game number 1, which is what you anticipated there, Raf. But now with 4 Fulminator Mages being brought in on the play, things get a lot better for Carmine Daniello.
If Carmine has pressure on the board when he starts playing his mages, then the game is probably going to go his way.
So he's looking for a Thoughtseize into a Tarmogoyf into a Fulminator Mage.
Yeah, that's usually the way Jund wins in that kind of matchups. If he's only relying on the Fulminator Mages, that might not be enough, because what Andreas is doing the whole game, he's just like playing lands and searching for lands. So just relying on the mages is not going to do enough.
Peterson is considering his opening 7. Still seems to be debating things there, maybe having a chat with his some of his teammates. I did see that he brought in Thragtusk, so looking to be a little bit more grindy, a little bit more mid-range oriented in post-board games. Maybe rely less upon the old combo finish, less upon having those Valakuts out all the time.
Yeah, because Carmine is going to try to forward left plan. So Thragtusk is a very good answer to that. And it's a good answer to Liliana as well.
Well, speaking of good answer to Liliana is Obstinate Baloth. I mean, Carmine Daniello may actually be incentivized to take out his 3 copies of Liliana of the Veil in the face of the 3 copies of Obstinate Baloth that Peterson is able to bring in here. A slower start for Peterson here. Nothing in the way of an early a search for tomorrow here. And that's going to be met with a Collective Brutality. It looks like it's just going to be on duress mode.
So no Summoner Pact in response?
No, that wouldn't seem to be the best play. And it looks like Summoner's Pact is going to hit the bin rather than something like Scape Shift.
That would be a pretty terrible play.
Is there a Scape Shift hanging out in his hand? I thought I saw one, but
no,
perhaps not.
It's not.
No, perhaps not. Okay. So his hand is Secura Tribe Elder, Thragtusk, Valakut, a couple of lands as well. Looks like there is a Baloth hanging out there as well.
I don't think so. No,
it's a Titan.
It's a Titan.
It's just a Primeval Titan. Excuse me.
It's only a Titan.
Only a Titan.
Not too relevant here.
No. Secura Tribe Elder, the next card to be played here for Peterson. And it's back to Daniello. He finds a Blood Crypt off the top of his library with 3 mana now. What are we going to see? Are we going to see just the old turn 3 Fulminator Mage? Would be huge if so.
It would be okay, I think.
Just okay, you think?
Yeah, because he doesn't have pressure yet. And Andreas has lands, so he will get to 5 mana for the Thragtusk.
Liliana of the Veil now, the play here for Carmine Daniello. And Andreas Peterson presumably not drawing an Obstinate Baloth in the meantime. That would be an absolute dagger, however. Peterson
you first, not you first.
with the slow roll.
Me first. Okay, first.
Both players obviously going to hang up at exactly the same time here. Thragtusk hits the bin. And the freshly drawn Blood Crypt, not of interest to Carmine Daniello.
No sacrifice from Sacred Tribe Elder, who's going to hit Liliana with his wet snake paws.
Give her a little bit of a sharp lesson here as another Secure Tribe Elder comes down. Goes up to 4. Another discard here for Daniello and Peterson, whose hands are slowly but surely being chipped away at.
But next turn, Titan is going to hurt a lot.
An Escape Shift discarded, in addition to a Verdant Catacombs for Carmine Daniello. He must have the lands that he needs to continue. He's discarded 2 lands in a row. He's obviously wanting to get to 4, maybe deploy one of these Bloodbraid Elves in his deck. See what his plan is moving forward.
If he's not catching up on the aggression, I think he's going to fall behind.
Another Verdant Catacombs sends him down to 18. This Liliana being, held at bay a little bit at least by the Secura Tribe Elders. And a basic forest now for Daniello would indicate that he's got something to play this turn. I imagine it is a Bloodbraid Elf, although it could of course be something else. And we're going to see, what is this, like a Tarmogoyf now? And a Scavenging Ooze.
All right, now the aggression is coming.
Not at its best
so
in this.
Does Andrea have a
matchup?
6th land? He probably does. And that means he's going to be able to cast Titan, but is playing Titan here good? Because there's still Liliana, and Liliana is going to
just edict it away.
Yeah. And that's what Carmine wanted to have. An actual way to pressure Andreas, because if Andreas plays the Titan now, the Valakuts will be online.
So Cinderglade into Primeval Titan, which means that he can go and fetch
Yeah,
up
he
2 mountains.
Oh, and he will kill.
And that will remove the Liliana from play.
Yep.
Or indeed, he could just get another.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
No,
there's not going to
get
be
another Valakut.
There's not going to be any edict.
We do have another result from you for you from on the back table. Enervoltson goes down in straight sets. Alessandro
Oh, wow.
Lippi
That was not what I expected.
has done very well indeed to push himself over the top here. As we see Carmina Daniello counting up those mountains. And that means 2 lightning bolts sent the way of Liliana of the Veil. But it looks like a couple of quick blood moons were enough to forge a victory for Alessandro Lippi. He'll be very happy with that, especially given the fact that he wasn't facing off against a Delver deck, the natural prey of the prison deck. Here's a Dreadbore to take care of
that's very good.
That Primeval Titan. And then it's going to get eaten up by the Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, the only way he would not kill Liliana was if his 6th land was the 2nd forest of his deck. But since it was a mountain,
Cinderglade,
he managed to had double trigger from
So
Valakut.
9 damage to Andreas Peterson as he goes down to 11 here.
Oh, wow, that's a great draw.
And the Summoner's packed
That's
off
a
the
sick
top.
draw.
Look at this. So another Primeval Titan now is going to be cast for 6 mana.
Killing what? Killing the... So he's going to get another Valakut and a mountain.
So that's another 6 damage divided as he would choose in batches of 3 here.
I would say Valakut and mountain is better than double mountain.
Because then every mountain off the top is 6. So
Yeah, and also that dodges the Fulminator Mage.
The single Fulminator.
If Carmine draws a Fulminator Mage and destroys the only Valakut, that's probably not great.
So we've just seen the damage divided between these 2 creatures here, which would indicate that Peterson has another mountain. Yes, he does, in the form of Windswept Heath.
So he had the other land. He drew like all 2 lands and
Perfect.
And summoner spec.
Perfect. And this is the power of Scapeshift in the late game. It now means that Peterson, essentially every card he draws
6 damage.
is a double lightning bolt effect. There is only what? There's only 2 of if he's drawing rampaging or
It's only one. It's only one because he has a forest in play.
He's got a forest in play.
Worst draw would be a lightning bolt.
Yeah, it's funny how a lightning bolt would be worse than just a basic mountain in this situation, but that's the way that it goes. Looks like there is a judge call right now.
Valakut would not be great.
Okay. Also, Valakut isn't going to trigger it, but that'd set up for future 9 mana plays there. But even something like a Farseeker or a Search for Tomorrow, even a Secure Tribe Elder, these are all going to be double bolt effects. So it seems to be a judge call going on right now, and I'm not 100% sure what it could be about here. Didn't seem to be. Maybe about where these lightning bolts
Or maybe
were being
if he
sent.
played a land this turn. Did he play land?
Not as far as I'm aware, he didn't. No.
So last turn,
Didn't see anything that is immediately raising cause for concern here, but we are going to jump across and have a look at our standard match while this is being resolved here. Looks like Michael Bonder is firing on all cylinders with an Aethersphere Harvester taking the skies.
that's the one I was mentioning earlier. The one that will make the difference.
And a straight-up race here. Looks like Moscato wants to take his opponent to task here, but Bonder has got a ton of energy, and he's going to be able to really buffer that life total. Still at a very healthy 17 here. The Scarab God, Scry Trigger. No interest in that, says Bonder. Draws an island. Look at those beautiful islands he's playing. Here we go. Vraska's Contempt in hand. I would say Bonder is odds on to win this one here, Raf.
He's in a pretty good shape. He has energy to have the 2nd black mana to cast the Vraska's Contempt that he has in his hand, and he's not facing too much pressure.
No, not at all. Curry Zev and the lone Thopter there facing off against Aethersphere Harvester, which is excellent in this matchup, and the Scarab God, which is excellent ever. Full stop.
Yeah. Notice that Adriano has a Scavenging Ground, and that will allow him to prevent the Scarab God from reanimating something.
So it's just a 5/5.
Yeah, it's only a 5/5.
Just a 5/5. Scavenger Ground's a very important piece of graveyard interaction, especially in the face of the Scarab God. We saw a couple of GPG decks doing pretty well throughout the formats, showcased throughout this weekend, but haven't really put up the numbers at the end of the day. Certainly the Scarab God rules the roost as it is now. Sun-Scorched Desert, of course, can be chucked away to the Scavenger Grounds to exile those graveyards.
And there's as ways to kill the Scarab God. I don't see my Dire Fleet Daredevil.
Yeah, Dire Fleet Daredevil to flash an opposing Vrass's
Yep.
Contempt Pact.
That's the way to kill the Scarab God.
So now Bonda continuing to think how he's going to navigate this next little bit here. But in the meantime, we may as well head back to our modern match now that I can give you some details on the judge call.
Liliana
what has happened here
makes her comeback.
What has happened here is Andreas Peterson unfortunately miscounted the number of Valakuts he had in play and attempted to resolve one more trigger than he actually had the right to. In any case, things seem to have been resolved and everything seems to be settled now. But as you mentioned, yes, Liliana taking care of that Primeval Titan, so Peterson should be able to answer the Liliana, really.
That's a great draw here.
But a surgical extraction on the scape shift means that we're not going to have any combo finishes here.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. Primeval Titan is probably worse here. I think he might have cut a couple of scape shifts. They might have been only 2.
Maybe he just left the 1 in
3.
there.
To
get him
he
with
kept
the
all 4. Never mind. He kept all 4.
Did he keep all
but
4?
I think taking care of the Primeval Titan was probably better.
Yeah.
Because he played his 2 packs already, so never mind. Nope.
And it looks like Michael Bonda, as expected, was able to win that final game there. And these guys go to 1-1 on standard. And, of course, Bonda's going to have to dig deep because Alessandro Lippi has already won his legacy match. Here is a Bloodbraid Elf. Search for tomorrow off the top. It's going to go and get a mountain. And this is a lot of pressure very fast.
Notice that he didn't sacrifice his foothills because his opponent has a Raging Ravine.
Raging Ravine. Okay. Yep.
So he wants to activate it during his opponent's turn or prevent his opponent from activating his Ravine.
So 2 mana now, and Daniello plays an enormous big Tarmogoyf. See what Peterson can do about that one. Tarmogoyf pretty large. See, I think almost everything but Artifact, Enchantment, and Tribal.
All right.
So now Bloodbraid Elf attacks past this Tarmogoyf, which was recently slain here. And now Daniello down to 10 after having fetched away.
So saving 3 life here.
Here's Raging Ravine, but it looks like this little wooded foothills is going to, well, ping Peterson down to 9, but also a mountain here will be enough to finish off this Raging Ravine.
So worst card would be Forest here, and everything is a live draw.
Yep. More or less everything here is it should be getting pretty close to sealing the deal because Daniello is down to 7 now after the second Lightning Bolt trigger goes upstairs. And a Secure Tribe Elder is enough to seal the game once and for all in the favor of Andreas Peterson, meaning that as we've had quite a few times throughout this weekend, Raphael Levy, we are heading over to our standard table to resolve things once and for all. Michael Bonde on blue-black mid-range, facing off against Adriano Moscato on mono-red. These players are heading into game number 3, and the result of this game will determine the outcome of the match.
If the Danes want to keep the title of a European Team GP winner, Michael has to win the next game.
Yes, Thomas Annevolten and Michael Bonda did famously win GP Lyon in the lead up to the World Magic Cup in Nice. And here we see a pre-game handshake heading into the final game of this match.
I love the pre-game handshakes.
You love it?
I love them.
You all about it?
I love them.
You shake with both hands, don't you?
I
get
shake
the right one and then the left one out there like that?
I shake after game 1.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
That's the best. Good game and you handshake.
Put your foot across the table, shake feet as well.
No, just hand.
No, you haven't done the foot shake. It's the latest technology.
All right.
It's the latest thing out of Paris.
I'll let you do that.
Yeah, no worries. Michael Bonda here and Adriano Moscato, as we mentioned. Blue-black mid-range versus mono-red. It's the old versus the new here, with blue-black mid-range really being the premier deck of the format, or perhaps blue-black control. I'm sure that debate will rage on. But anyway you slice it, the Scarab God has had a hell of a weekend here in Madrid. And I tell you what, so have we here behind the camera here at Team Coverage. It's been fantastic to bring you live coverage of this event so far. And we're looking forward to continuing to do this for you all the way through to the time. The players hoist
Oh,
the
the
trophy.
second
The
handshake.
double pre-game handshake. How about that? Michael Bonda and Adriano Moscato becoming very closely acquainted here. As we have a look now at their opening hands.
I like one handshake.
Just the one?
Just one.
Two
yeah,
is
yeah,
getting a little
yeah.
bit too excessive.
Or maybe just after the Joe 7 handshake.
They're going to go again after
The third one would be the best.
Play my first land handshake.
Best of 3 handshake.
Best of 3 handshakes. Oh, dear. Well,
that's
here we go with
That's a good start.
Beaumat Curia kicking things off for Moscato. That's exactly what he wants here on turn number 1.
And is
Let's see what Bonda has to answer it with. It's going to be a tapped, drowned Catacomb, so nothing in the way of a fatal push here. And Moscato.
That's a pretty slow hand on Michael's
Sun-scorched
side.
desert now. 2 cards under the...
Carry Zev hits the... Oh, no Carry Zev, so could have been a lot worse for Michael here.
No 2-drop whatsoever here. Bonda does have a little bit of breathing room as the Beaumat Curia comes across once again. Down to 17 thanks to that sun-scorched desert. And I can tell you now on the back table, we do have a result. We may hold off on announcing that just for now, but we do indeed have a... we do indeed have our first finalists announced. If you want to get across that, of course, I'm sure you can jump online and find the outcome there. But if you stay tuned to coverage, you'll find out before too much longer, of course. We don't want to spoil the fun.
And we're not going to say that they won. Whoever won.
Whoever won.
Yeah. We're not going to say it.
Not going to say it. So, Bonda plays a land, has a think about it, says go. Back to Moscato now.
He's wondering either he should play Essence Scatter or Siphoner. Keep the mana for Essence Scatter. I'll play his Siphoner.
Well, let's see what Moscato is going to do with this turn. No haste creature, it would seem, with the Beaumat Curia coming across. What have we got? Maybe a Pianala? Seems to be a little flood. He's got 2 more lands in hand.
No play? Wow.
Mate, what are you up to?
That actually doesn't work for Michael's plan because he wanted his opponent to play something. Because now his Essence Scatter is going to sit in his hand for a while.
Wanted to use his mana here. The Bonda kind of is, I mean, he'll still be happy to get a bit of extra breathing room now as the Champion of Wits comes down. It's a dangerous play to make given the fact that Hazoret could come to play next turn.
But
Although she's not going to attack, and maybe there'll be a Vraska's Contempt in time.
There is one. So maybe he's going to discard his Essence Scatter or his extra lands. Or maybe he wants to discard a creature to bring back with the Scarab God later. Well, there are probably going to be some casualties in the next few turns.
So 2 cards are going to be discarded here to the Champion of Wits. And we'll see what he discards here. Field of Ruin in addition to an island.
Lands.
Back to Adriano Moscato here.
That's another land on Adriano's side.
So Scavenger Grounds. And we are going to see a follow-up here. 4-drop. And you'd imagine it would be, well, a Chandra Torch Defiance. Flame Slash that 2-1 out of the way.
This Beaumat Curia is getting out of hand here.
Getting very big.
4 cards, so next turn is going to be... It's going to be a lot of cards for this little 1-1.
Yeah, the mail always gets through.
5 damage. I think... No, 4 damage, sorry. The 5th damage was came from the desert.
4 cards in the postal sack there. Back to Bonda now. How does he want to press forward? Still has that Essence Scatter in hand, a Glintsleeve Siphoner as well.
Without any Fatal Push or a Moment Craving.
No, both players seem to be...
this is not a good draw for either player, but...
No, they're on their
Michael Bonda is on the back foot
here.
Oh, but there's a Harvester here. But nothing to crew it.
So he does have the option of Land Siphoner Go, which would keep up an Essence Scatter.
I think that's a legitimate play.
And then the Siphoner can threaten that Chandra next turn. Drowned Catacomb, mismatched. Ugh.
Very relevant piece of information.
Very relevant piece of information for our viewers to get across. And it is going to be Glintsleeve Siphoner now. 1 energy. And that's going to be a nice one because it means that in addition to that Ether Hub, Bonda will be able to draw a card next turn should the Siphoner survive. Although I suspect Moscato must have removal in hand.
It's not sure because I think he has 2 lands in Hazoret. That's part of his hand.
Okay.
Is that an Abrade? It could be an Abrade now. That would be great. It was a great draw.
So, plays a mountain. Haven't seen a Chandra activation just yet. Going to see it that right now. So 2 mana, 4 mana, and here is Hazoret, the Fervent. Essence Scatter, though, playing right into Michael Bonder's hands there, as he did manage to double spell. But now we will see, you would imagine, an Abrade. Yes, indeed. So away goes the 2-1 there. And this means that we've got the Bomad Courier once again.
It's going to be a Wheel of Fortune here. Just for him.
Through the rain and the snow, post will always go through. Back to Bonder now. And it's going to be TSG. Oi. Scarab God comes down. This has been the marquee card of the tournament, I think. There will be a lot of talk about the Scarab God in the week to come and how best to tussle with Standard's greatest threat.
Are we drawing 5 cards here?
So,
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Discard double
2
mountain.
lands, yeah.
Draw some new cards. And let's see what's up. Fresh grip for Moscato.
It's a deep breath from Michael's.
Mm.
From Michael's side.
So back to Moscato now. He's untapping with a fresh grip, 6 cards in hand. He's got to be happy with how things are panning out so far. Although
he's facing a Scarab God.
The Scarab God could turn the table here. And actually, no, having said that, Michael Bonder only on 14. This has been not a lot of pressure, even though Moscato has a nice full hand.
Lands, yeah.
Has he just shipped?
I don't know. Well, that would be super bad.
He just pointed at Bonder, but I don't think. No, surely he's not just shipping.
I think he showed the mountain.
Okay. And now, Moscato having an animated discussion with his teammates there. You can see he's fluent in Italian Sign Language.
Note that the Scavenging Ground could take care of the Scarab God before it goes back to hand.
It is going to be able to prevent activations there. Or, in fact, yes, shuffle away that Scarab God should it be removed. And are we going to see something like a... No, okay, just a Soul Scum Mage.
That's not...
And a Scavenger Grounds off the top to do 2 damage to Michael Bonder with that Chandra, which is still on the battlefield.
Yeah, okay.
Hidden,
we just need to to move it up a little bit.
Well, maybe we can get that.
We could have that happen. I kind of forgot about that Chandra.
Yeah, it was kind of pushed away.
Oh yeah, that's not so bad. Is
it?
Scarab God on Michael's side. Okay. Oh, there's also a Chandra. All right.
Yes. Just see her just poking out of the bottom of the screen there.
Yeah.
Torch of Defiance. We've seen her played in all the formats this weekend.
All right. Here we go.
Not only in Standard, but also in Modern and in Legacy.
I've seen Modern.
Oh, yeah.
Which deck?
I think Junda's playing a couple on the board every now and again.
Okay. That's not great.
Bomad Courier. Not a great follow-up play, so just a couple of measly little 1/1s here, and Adriano Moscato tapping both lands to different directions while still piled on top of each other. Moscato, my friend.
At the end, are you giving style points at the end? Like at the skating.
Yeah.
Skating,
you know how
Olympics.
in in sports ball, misconduct on the field will result in match pay being removed or being they get a fine.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna find?
I would look into this. I would strongly advise that we look into start punitive measures for those who are for mistapping and mismatch basics.
So an attack from Michael Bonder here.
Yeah, the Scarab God's really getting it done here.
And now the thing is, Adriano has to keep 3 mana up to activate his Scavenger Grounds. Otherwise, if he taps out, he gives a window for Michael to reanimate something, get a 4/4. And there would probably be a Champion of Wits to draw 4 cards for almost for free.
So, Scarab God gets busy, but of course the little Bomad Courier stands in the way of the Scarab God tussling with Chandra. But that doesn't matter because Bonder has the answer in the form of Vraska's Contempt. So away goes the Torch of Defiance, gaining Bonder 2 life, buffering that life total. Very important in the face of Mono Red. On 14, Bonder doesn't look to be in too much trouble.
The sequence was great here. So he waited for his opponent's upkeep to do it. He didn't want to do it during his turn because if it did that, then he would have left a window for Adriano to use his Scavenger Ground at the end of turn. So now if he wants to do it, he has to have 3 mana.
Has to do it in his turn.
And he did not leave him activate his Chandra during his turn, obviously.
Sharp stuff here from Bonder. Really gaining as much value out of those activations as possible, out of those cards that he's got. Here's an Earthshaker Kenra now. So a little bit more damage coming through. Bonder knocked down to 11. Moscato ships. So an active Scarab God still dueling off against this Scavenger Grounds.
Some breathing room. Man, a counter backup. Is that Golden Demise?
Golden Demise off the top here
Ooh.
for Michael Bonda. So that's just that's a 2-for-1, clean as they come.
I wouldn't say that because there's the Eternalize
Okay.
from Kenner. I don't think.
And Soulscar Mage also has prowess.
Yeah.
All right. Aethersphere Harvester the play instead for Bonda. And a couple of energy. Up to 5. So let's have a look at what Moscato can do about this.
There's a window here to use the Scavenger Ground.
Is this what we're going to see here?
Yep.
Yep, we're going to see an activation of the Scavenger Grounds. Away goes the Sun-Scorched Desert, and that's going to be enough to empty out those graveyards for the first time.
There's another land, I think. These
Moscato.
monsters are beautiful, but they are too beautiful around.
Too many of them.
Too many of them.
Too much beauty for one man. Quick look at Soulscar Mage there. Prowess trigger, or prowess creature that can also, I mean, it's one of the ways to get cards like Hazard off the battlefield. And there is another Chandra. Dings in for 2. And it's back to Bonda here, who gets to untap. His Scarab God has been a little anemic when it comes to bringing back zombies here in the face of Moscato's surgical precision with those Scavenger Grounds.
A
And the
creature here would be amazing on the Michael side. To crew the Harvester and
Crew the
attack,
Harvester
yeah.
up. Yep. Buffer that life total. Well, a couple of cards in the grip here for Michael Bonda. What's he working with? Seven mana. He's got to commit to memory.
Just
What else? The other card in there. Bit of a mystery at this stage.
safety net in the commit memory.
Bonda discussing things with his teammates here. Jibber jabbering away in Danish. Got those potatoes in their throats.
Walking Ballista here would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
That would kill Chandra. No, not kill Chandra, but deal good chunk of damage to Chandra. Gain life. Give a 4/4 to Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least destroy the Scavenger Ground.
So let's have a look. Bonda really playing, taking his time with this play. A lot riding on it, I suppose, but still.
Oh, Golden
go, old
Demise
son.
now.
So commit to memory, Golden Demise in the hands here, in the hand of the Dane.
He has the City's Blessing.
He does indeed have the City's Blessing now. No, excuse me, just 9. Just 9.
He doesn't?
Doesn't have the City's Blessing.
3. Oh,
Just
he
9.
does not. So he does not kill Chandra. He cannot kill Chandra here. That's...
We're going to see the Aethersphere Harvester get across, however. Gain him a little bit of life. Bonda goes back up to 12.
Oh, and now
Chandra
he
down
can.
to
And
2.
now he can react. Oh, there was something amazing he could have done. For 4 mana, he could have taken back the Kenra
Uh-huh.
and attack with both Chandra.
Moscato didn't have the Scavenger Ground activation?
Oh, he could, but then he would have done that
Yeah.
on his turn, and that would he would have destroyed the Kenra at the same time. So now he's still facing the Kenra.
See, Bonda would have just removed the
Yeah.
Kenra from contention.
But now, yeah, it's about the same thing now. But at least he wouldn't have the option now. The option here.
So Moscato thinking about it here.
Okay, he's doing it now. All right, that's about the same thing.
Yeah. So at a stage when
Right,
Moscato
right.
isn't able to.
He's just going to do it in his upkeep. Well, he could have done it on his turn. So better play by Bonda.
Yeah.
Because now he's stepping the.
He's
mana
all
on the
he's all
gates.
across it. Yeah. And another land here for Moscato as he goes upstairs with Chandra and finds another land. Oh.
And it's going to be too late now.
I mean, he's playing a ton of mountains, but still, he's drawn about half of them.
And now Michael has the safety net in
Mm.
commit memory. So now
Commit to
he's
memory is
gonna-
going to be very big here.
So
and
now he's going to take care of Chandra, gain 2 life, going up to 13. I don't think there's a...
and what's Moscato's path to victory here? It's going to be very difficult indeed. He doesn't have any pressure of any kind, and even something like a Hazard off the top can is something that Bonda can deal with the commit to memory.
How about Bud Career?
By Mercury.
It was not a laughing matter at the beginning of the game.
No, but right now it's no good for Adriano Moscato, and Bonda just says, "Yeah, sure, buddy. No worries. Fill your boots." Card
Yeah.
off the top here for Moscato.
How about that? If he manages to kill it, or if he cash in the cards,
Mm.
Bonda can take it back. Can take it with the Scarab God, and he has the red mana.
And he
to
can
say-
activate
he
its
can-
ability as well. Oh dear, Fetid Pool's being
and
cycled here for Bonda.
Rescue's Contempt. This is snowballing out of hand here.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare here for Moscato. All of his worst dreams are coming true. And the Scarab God cruise up the Ethersphere Harvester. Bonda looking to really preserve his life totally. Doesn't want to fall too far behind, so he's going to be back up to 15 here. Obviously prioritizing his life total above getting in for extra damage because, of course, an attack just with the Scarab God could have pushed through an extra couple of points there.
I have a feeling the Danes are going to defend their titles.
So now, Bonda in a commanding position. Moscato. Half the lands in his deck on the battlefield. He's playing 18 mountains, and I think we've seen 9 of them at least. Gloria Bringer in hand for Moscato. Raph, does that change anything?
I do not believe it does. Because Michael has, I think, a Rusk's Contempt and a Commit Memory in hand.
So Bonda just has all the answers anyone could want, anyone could hope for here. And those answers are fantastic against more or less anything that Moscato could hope to play. From Hazaret down, they just answer everything very cleanly. 4 mana, which one are we going to see? It's Rask's Contempt.
17 life, that's...
17 life, sitting behind an active Ethersphere Harvester. Oh, but Moscato, send a message, mate. Get in there. The Bowmat Courier pings in for another one. Bonda down to 16, draws a card. It's not another Vraska's Contempt, is it?
Oh, it might be.
Let's see some attacks now from Bonda.
Oh, it's a Gearhulk.
Oh, Torrential Gear. So effectively, yes, another Vraska's Contempt.
How about this guy?
So Vraska's Contempt targeting the Bowmat Courier. It's going to be exiled. Okay, well, it's gone to his graveyard as it was sacrificed instead. Crew up the Ethersphere Harvester. Get in for 8 here. Moscato down to 9.
Now he's threatening lethal next turn because, well, the Bowmat Courier is going to have haste.
He can bring back that Bowmat Courier with the Scarab God. Is Michael Bonda with blue-black mid-range going to win off the back of a Bowmat Courier? Adriano Moscato.
So would you give an extra style point with that?
He's on the ropes, and that is that here for the Danish team. They've found their way into the finals and will join, ladies and gentlemen, the team from Great Britain, Charles Eliatambi, Christoph Green, and Ben Jones. As we bring it back to the booth, ladies and gentlemen, with myself, Riley Knight, and him, Raph Levy. The finals are just minutes away, and things are really going to heat up as we get across them, my friends. Not only do we have this Danish team back-to-back champions, well, hoping to be back-to-back champions at least after their victory in December in Lyon at the last team event here. They're playing Scapeshift, playing Mono Red Prison, and also playing Blue-Black mid-range. And these decks have proven their mettle across all formats. Unlikely.
He's not playing red. He's not Prison.
No, sorry. Alessandro Lippi was playing Prison. He's playing. Playing 4-color check pile, playing mid range. Unexpected choices, at least in Modern. I would say Scapeshift hasn't been at the top of the Modern tables for quite a while, but
I like this choice.
With
I really like
Elf.
it. I really like it.
Talk to us about Blood-Red Elf in the Scapeshift deck.
So it's especially good now, since, well, this deck might be under the radar before might have been under the radar before this tournament. But thinking that other teams would line up Jund, this deck is perfectly fit to beat Jund. And we've seen that the whole weekend. Scapeshift have been beating Jund the whole time. So Bloodbird is a very good addition to that deck. And it seems to be working out for them. I haven't seen any other player playing Titan Shift. So might have been the choice. Might have been the winning choice.
Might have been the winner's choice there, and it has put this Danish team, or helped to put this Danish team, into the finals of GP Madrid, where they will face off against that British trio that we talked about before. My friends, we've got to go to a break. The finals are on the other side of it, however, so you're not going to want to miss a minute. Stick around. On the other side of these ads, we will bring you the finals of GP Madrid.